Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today we will resume our lessons with mathematics topics, which we have been covering for a while now, but unfortunately we had to stop for the past few months due to other commitment. I couldn't do classes on those time. I do apologize for that for those people who has been following this channel for a long time, but from now on, inshallah, I will try to post at least one video each week. So we've covered some factorization, and we've done relatively every aspect of factorization, how to factorize a simple quadratic with a two variable and all that. So now we'll start a new topics, and these topics will be indices. But before we start indices, I just want to introduce us to these things called the index form. But I just want to explain it. What do I mean by that? Suppose we have 2 squared. This mathematically is written as 2 times 2. We're all aware if we have 3 to the power, so let's say 2 to the power 3, this is 2. How many times it repeats itself? So that is 2 times 2 times 2, which is, by the way, 2 times 2 is equal to 4, and 2 times 2 times 2 is equal to 8. That's why we can express into that format. But this number, 2 to the power 2, is known as mathematically as 2 squared. This is 2 squared, and this one here to the power of 3, but just 2 to the power 2 and 2 to the power 3, they have a special name, which is, this is 2 cubed. I'm saying 2 because this is why what we have here, we've got 2 to the power of 2 and 2 to the power 3. If we had variable, let's say x power 2, this will say x squared. And if we had x power 3, this will be x cubed. But everything else after to the power of 3, if I have 2 to the power 4, this is read. You can read this as 2 to the power of 4. So this will be the same as what? 2 4 times. You multiply 2 itself 4 times. That's what it means. 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, which this is, if you multiply that, it will be 16. That's all I wanted to say in the introduction of that. So there's one thing I need to say. If we have x to the power of n, mathematically this x is known as base. In the n, they have a different name. Some people, they call this power. Some people, they call it index. Some people, they call it exponent. So that's just a mathematical term which you need to be aware of it. So if you hear people saying that, that's what it means. So now let's go in doing question relating to index form. Example number 1. Suppose we have, they say, write the following in index form. We've been given here part 1, we have 7 times 7 times 7 times 7. This is, how can you write this in index form? To write this in index form, all you have to do, you've got 7 as your number, which is our base, because we need, in index form, we need to write it in the form of base and its power. So the base is 7, because that's our number, is 7, and the power is how many times that 7 repeat itself. We can see here once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. So 7, it repeats itself 4 times. So these can be written as 7 to the power 4. Part 2, suppose we have 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. This is into exponential form, index form. This, we write our number as a base, which is 3, and power is how many times that 3 repeats itself. We can see from here it repeats itself 5 times, so that can be written as 3 to the power of 5. Let's look at another example. Suppose we have minus 5 times minus 5 times minus 5. How can we write this into index form? Now, the first two examples, we had a positive number, but now our base is no longer positive. Our base is negative. For we write our base, which is what? Minus 5. And then how many times does minus 5 repeat itself? Is 3 times. So that can be written as minus 5 to the power of 3. Right. Another example. So far, we've been dealing with the numbers, but now I want to introduce letters or variable. Let's say we have x times x times x times x. How can we write this in index form? Our base is what? Is x. How many times does the base does x repeat itself? Once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. So that is x to the power 4. Same thing again. If you want to write it, will go on and on. But let's say maybe you have y times y times y times y times y. Our base now is y. How many times does y repeat itself? It repeats itself 5 times. So that will be y to the power of 5. And that is how you write into index form or exponential form. You can call it whatever you want. So what we will do now, I'm going to write few questions, and then I want you to try these questions, and then I write it. The reason why I'm doing that, as I've been saying it all the time, like you can only learn mathematics by doing it. The more you do it, the better you become. It doesn't help you watching someone else doing it. You need to do it yourself. So I'll write few questions, maybe 3 questions, and then we see how we can solve those 3 questions. Right, this is question number 1. They say evaluate this 1, 2, 3, and 4. So pause the video and try them for yourself, and then I will do, and then we can compare if we get the same answer. Okay, part 1, 8 cubed is just the same as 8. How many times does it repeat itself? 3 times. 8 times 8 times 8. And if you do that, you get 512. The same as 4 to the power 4. You do it 4 times. You multiply out, you get 256. 3 to the power of 5. 5 times. 3 times. 5 times. And you get 243. Number 4, I thought I should do this so we can all see. We have minus 3 to the power of 5. If you write this in a product form, this is minus 3, which is our base. How many times does minus 3 repeat itself? It repeats itself 5 times. So it's minus 3 times minus 3 times minus 3 times minus 3 times minus 3. Right. We know if it was positive, it will be 243 because it will be the same as 3 to the power of 5. But now we're dealing with a negative. How many negative have we got? We've got 5 negative. We've got I just want to work out the sign first before I work out the number. We've got minus times minus this one times minus times minus times minus. You've got it 5 times. So negative times negative, when you multiply 2 sign, what do you get? You get positive. Multiply this sign here, negative times negative, you get negative. Negative times negative, you get positive, and then times our last negative. Right, now what have we got? We've got positive times positive. This 2 here, what do we get? We get positive, and then times this negative here. Now we end up with a 2 sign. We get positive times negative, we get negative. So our answer, it will have a negative sign, but we know 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 from the previous example is 243. So the answer will be the same as negative 243. The reason why I explain this, because some people, they get confused when they say the negative signs and all that, but it's just straightforward. And if there is any doubt, just go back to the negative sign negative numbers, and then we've explained this in details, and there's example, you can work it out, and everything should be clear after that. So that question number 1. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to write question number 2, and then we'll try that question number 2. We see how we get on. Okay, I've got question number 2, which has 4 parts. Part A, part 1, 2, 3 to 4. Try this question yourself, and then I will write the solution, and then we can compare. Right, this is the solution for part 1. Our base is 9. How many times does 9 repeat itself? It repeats itself 5 times, so we get 9 to the power of 5. And then our base is 10 on part 2 of the question 2, which is how many times does it repeat itself? It repeats itself 4 times, 10 to the power of 4. And then I've got part 3, which I've got m multiplied 5 times, so it's just m to the power of 5. And then I just got here 8 itself. But I've been asked to write this into exponent form. Exponent form is just number raised to the power. So this, how many, our base we know is 8, but how many times does 8 repeat itself is just once. So that will be 8 to the power 1. Right. I'll write question number 3, and then we can try that one as well. That will be the last question for this part. Okay, this is question number 3. I've got 3 parts. Part 1, part 2, and part 3. Try them yourself, and then I will post the solution for those questions, and this will be the end after this one. Right, I thought we should do it together rather than me posting the solution for this. Part 1, I've got 2 times 2 times 2, 3 times 3 times 3. I've got 2 bases of a different kind, like I've got 2 and I've got 3. So these ones cannot be mixed up together. So what I will do, I will say my first number is base 2. Right, I write it 2. How many times does 2 repeat itself? 3 times. Multiply by, the second one was what? 3. My base is 3. How many times does 3 repeat itself? 3 times. That's the end of that. The same thing here. I've got 2 base, which is 8 and 5. So I've got 8 times 5. How many times does 8 repeat itself? Once, twice, 3 times. How many times does 5 repeat itself? Once, twice, 3 times. So I've got 8 power 3 times 5 power 3. And then the last one, I've got, you can consider it again as a 2 base. I've got minus 1 times, but minus 1, how many times does it repeat itself? It's just 1 times. What about 4? I've got 4. How many times does it repeat itself? 3 times. But mathematically, what is minus 1 power 1? Is just minus 1, but minus 1 mathematically you just write the minus sign, so it will be minus into 4 to the power of 3. So that will be the answer for that. You need to be careful, especially when the negative sign it has even power, because that will lead to cancellation of a negative sign and being a positive. But we will see more example of those kind when we come to do other examples. I think we should stop here for now. All I want to emphasize again, try to do as many questions as possible, because that's the only way you're going to get better. There is no other way you can get better if you don't do exercise. As simple as that. If you want to pass your mathematics exam, you've got to do exercise. You've got to try it. It's not like what people think, like, mathematics can only be learned by a certain group of people. No, you can learn it. If you put effort into it, you can become better as anybody else. So we will end here for today. And for those who are new to this channel, consider subscribing to our channel. Click the notification button. You can be notified whenever we send a video, and share this to others so they can benefit as well. So we will end up here for today. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.